Hey, everybody, we're here for a new episode of the show that has yet to be named. I'm here with JD777. I'm here with Puttyman from Putty. And today we are talking the review for Boba Fett. We're talking the review.
This guy right here. You know this guy? You know
Who earns?
I should have worn the helmet.
We're going to give you a spoiler-free review, a quick one, and then we'll open the floor for spoiler talk. Putty is going to give us a synopsis of the show.
No problem. Well, the Book of Boba Fett is about the famous bounty hunter from Star Wars lore right after the events of The Mandalorian Season 2, as well as The Empire Strikes Back, where Boba Fett is on a quest to gain control of Mos Espa on Tatooine from all the syndicates that currently control the territories since Jabba the Hutt's death. And then the story just continues from there, his quest to take over that.
Would you say the story is like a book?
I don't know. Sometimes it's not the Book of Boba Fett. Sometimes it's a book of other characters. But
well, we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
So we'll give you the quick review.
But it is gospel.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. I think in terms of what the show is, without spoilers, I think it's a fun time. Mm-hmm. I think it's a if you're a Star Wars fan, there's stuff to like. Overall, it has a good entertainment value, but I think for casual viewers, a lot of this show is not very logical, and I mean, I don't really know any other way to put it. I think the acting is well done. Sorry, I think the acting is well done. I think the little bits of comedy work, the action is solid, but
if you like westerns.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I would even debate that a little bit, but
way more spaghetti western vibe in this one than even Mandalorian in my eyes. You know what I mean?
Way more trying to rip off The Godfather and Goodfellas than actually trying to be a western.
And a little Untouchables in there too.
Yeah, it's trying really hard to be a western, but it's also trying really hard to be a gangster movie, and they clash with each other at times. And I mean, I don't have much to say about it without spoilers. I think if you like The Mandalorian, if you like Star Wars, you're going to 100% find stuff you love about this show.
Yeah. If you're a fan of Robert Rodriguez's cinematography, you're going to like this show too.
Yes. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say and we'll definitely get deeper into this, but I will say, if you haven't watched it yet and you are a Boba Fett fan, definitely keep your mind open when you're watching this, because I feel a lot of things that hardcore Boba Fett fans may not like, you kind of have to keep an open mind to, if that makes sense.
I'm gonna agree and disagree with that, because I don't care how hardcore of a Boba Fett fan you are. He's been in this entire world for like 17 minutes, and I don't think you even know who this character is. You like him because people think he's cool and whatnot, but I mean, nobody actually knows anything about this character that's on screen, at least.
Well, yeah, I agree with you on that. But again, yeah, that's definitely always like what I do. I'm always looking at back lore and things like that.
I have to agree in a way with you, but also disagree in a way. But I think that's fair. Jay, do you have anything to say?
I was going to say, like, if you are a hardcore Boba Fett fan, then you do know his lore in the Legends universe, where his story was so fleshed out. He had this whole redemption arc over the course of, I think, 15 books. And he played a big part in the Yuzhong Vong War. Yep. And he actually assisted, and he became friends with Han Solo.
Mm-hmm. But see, that's the thing that they, of course, Disney themselves decided. But again, I won't get more into spoilers. But basically, they took a lot where they said we're just making something different. I don't know. I don't want to get. Yeah. I feel like I'm inching way too much into spoilers.
So wait, Legends is no longer.
Canon. No, it's not canon. No, it's not canon.
Okay, well, we'll get into that after. But okay, so realistically, for me, I think it's watchable. Whether or not you're really gonna like it is up to you. For me, I would give it probably like a 7 out of 10. It's around. It's similar to Hawkeye for me, where I feel like they covered up a lot of the errors and holes in the story with Easter eggs and lore that. Tried to make you forget that there's all these things missing, and I think that's kind of its own downfall as well.
Yeah, there's one big part when we'll get into the spoilers. I'll explain what I thought of that in spoilers, because there is something that's been missing and that people have been asking about, and they kind of brushed over it in one episode kind of thing.
All right. Well, JD, what would you rate it out of a dozen donuts?
Out of a dozen donuts, I give it about 8.5 to a 9. I love Boba Fett, always have. I always thought I'm one of those guys that thought he was this cool, badass character because he never said anything. And that's what makes him badass. He let his actions speak for it. And I think that's what made Boba Fett this badass character. And without getting into spoilers, but I find he talked too much and they're trying to portray him as the good guy, where Boba Fett's more of an anti-hero than a good guy.
Yeah.
That's my personal opinion.
We'll get into that in spoilers because I think there's some stuff we could talk about. Putty, what would you rate it out of 10?
Again, the same situation out of 10, it would be 8 for me, one more. But I will say this, and this is not to get into a great detail. I agree with JD in that situation. I love the Boba Fett character. I have my trifecta of 3 characters: Boba Fett, Deadpool, and Sonic. And Boba Fett, I was just excited for this. It was a big deal to me. And I kind of went into an open mind because already what I saw in The Mandalorian, I was kind of already knew that I wasn't going to get what I wanted out of Boba Fett already. And you know what I mean, JD. You know what I mean? As soon as we saw him in Boba Fett, we already knew, okay, we're not going to get the same thing we're used to. So I kind of was able to let that go, but definitely when we get into spoiler territory, I'll explain why I was able to let it go, but still to this day, I still have kind of like, it won't get those high numbers from me ever, probably because of that.
Your rating's pretty high, but
yeah, it's because actually of other characters, honestly. I'll be honest, but we'll get into that.
Before we open the floor here, I'll just say I'm definitely optimistic of where this show can go from here. I have I like the way that it went towards the end.
Disney Plus universe, let's call it the Disney Plus television universe. I feel that it's going in the right direction, and there was something really good brewing.
Yeah. Anyways, if you just came for the spoiler-free review, that's it. We're gonna open the floor now, so go away or stay. Just stay. Anyways, okay. So immediately, I don't want to just jump to the end of the show. No. So we'll start a little bit at the beginning. And my thing, not against, because I don't really feel like I don't care about Boba Fett at all. I never have. I was never somebody that thought Boba Fett was cool. I mean, he looked cool, but the character has nothing there. And you know me, I'm an overanalyzer. And to me, there's nothing about that character that matters to Star Wars. And especially now that Legends is not canon. So they took away the canon, making Legends canon, because they want to make their own lore now. They want to adapt the lore, because the way that those books worked, and the comics, even from before times, the Dark
Horse, the Dark Horse comics,
they were lore because there were no more Star Wars content coming. There was no more Star Wars content coming. It was over. So they built the lore through these other outlets, and now that we have it, it's going to continue going forever now on screen, as it seems. Those books, we don't need those books anymore, and I agree with it, but I do kind of think that you erase a lot of your fandom that really likes stuff.
There was a lot of good things, but they're bringing back a lot of those Legends characters and tropes into the new series. Like, for example, in Rebels, they brought in Admiral Thrawn, right? They even mentioned it in Mandalorian 2, whereas Grand Admiral Thrawn was one of the first new expanded universe characters ever in the Timothy Zahn series of novels,
which we'll be getting in. I just forgot her name now. The character
Ahsoka.
Name. Yeah, we'll be getting that in the Ahsoka series, definitely, because that's 100% what they're going to focus on.
But back to where I was going with that. I think in terms of what Putty said about, or even you, he was like a badass character, and they made him talk. And he's not the type of guy that he kind of is in this show. But if you see the way it went, he basically died, and he escaped death, and he got a second chance. And the Sand people showed him humanity, and he realized there was more. So I understand that arc. I think his character arc is so well written. It's the only good, well written part.
That second episode when he bonds with that tribe. Yes. And he becomes part of their tribe and becomes part of that basically family. He sees that there's something more to life. He's been given this second chance at life, and he wants to make the most of it. I think that's
the rule. He still wants power, but he doesn't want to do it through murdering people anymore. He wants to do it in a way that It's
with respect. He says it. I will rule. I will rule with respect.
Yeah.
Well, see, we already knew there was a connection with the Tusken Raiders or the Sand People because of the gaffy stick that he had through Mandalorian season 2. You know what I mean? We saw him with the gaffy stick, unless of course he killed a Tusken Raider. We didn't know at that point, but everything kind of led to like that story frame right there was so good. And it's funny how his more of the lore where he actually got out once he got out of the Sarlacc pit and then moved on with the Tusken Raiders, that seemed more interesting for him. You know what I mean? And we didn't have much dialogue, so it felt more closer to a Boba Fett thing more than. Does that make sense? Like,
where he let his actions speak for him.
Exactly. And that's what I loved about those scenes. It's basically when he was trying to take over, a Jabba's palace and then the huts and everything, that it's, or not the huts, but take over the territories for the syndicates and everything, all the the people, the tribes. And so that's when it started to really feel like I don't know. It just lost its pacing in my eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But later we get into later episodes. I feel like
I don't even really think the pacing
better.
I don't even really think the pacing was a huge issue. I'll tell you something. Like I didn't really want to go to. Sorry, you want to say something? Go ahead.
I was going to say no. I think the pacing was good. 7 episodes was just the right amount.
Yeah, I agree.
But see, I feel like in the beginning,
I get what Putty's saying. Putty liked the more drawn out part, and then when it really slowed down in like the next couple of episodes, it got like a little weird. But the pacing is not my issue. My issue is with the tone. This is something that we're going to talk about, I guess, in Pacemaker next week when we do the Pacemaker.
One more episode.
Pacemaker.
One more episode.
And it's something that I was talking today about. The Marvel shows have started to do this too, where you're implementing things in your TV shows that have ramifications that are bad for the universe, because now the rest of the universe has to explain this thing that this TV show has brought up to make a thing. Yeah. So, and this is where my issue comes in Boba Fett, one of them at least.
Yeah.
The Mandalorian is very dark. It's much more of a Western. It's much more slow paced, drawn out. It's not very comedic. He's what we wanted Boba Fett to be, basically.
Yeah.
And
the Boba Fett adjacent, if you will.
The Boba Fett has a much different feel. It's much more mafia gangster influenced. It's faster paced in a sense, where it skips over a lot of things. And it has this really awkward comedic tone a lot. Like, not that the jokes are bad, but it just stands out. And now that you've taken the Mandalorian out of his element and you've put him in this new ecosystem, he's now part of this goofy ass universe. Where you put Boba Fett in his universe and it was all badass and dark and cool. And then you put him in this goofy ass place now. And it's like, now we need explanations for why all of a sudden for 3 episodes was he a goofy, happy, loving, weird character all of a sudden. That it's like, now I need explanations, because I
agree.
You've affected everything by changing his element.
Well, like going back to it, sorry, Putty, what I wanted to say too, before I lose my train of thought there, what you're saying about the ramifications now that they're going to affect what happens in the future. We already know what happens in the future in episodes 7, 8, and 9. Mm-hmm. So the fact that Luke was training Grogu,
that's what
they were going to say, like, there was a lot of talk on the internet community saying, well, where was Grogu during the destruction of the temple? Where was Grogu during so I felt that episode that they did with Luke training Grogu, I think that was force fed in that show just to explain what happens with Grogu and Luke and the Mando.
Go, Putty, but I want to counterpoint that.
That's what actually I'm going to counterpoint right now too as well. Because here's the thing, I was waiting to get into that point because I am a fan of Grogu and everything. I love the character. It's adorable and everything. And I like what they did with Luke in this, especially the face masking. They did a better job in this than they did Mandalorian.
He still doesn't talk properly.
No, I know, I agree, but
he looks better.
Well, they're trying to bring on. It's actually Mark Hamill, but they're trying to make his voice sound younger. But my point to the thing.
No, I meant like his mouth still doesn't move properly.
Yeah.
I get the voice thing. Okay, sorry, Putty, continue.
No, that's right. But anyway, but yeah, like there's so many things because when I was looking at it, I loved the simple things of the androids building the temple, things of that nature. But then there was the bigger thing that came in my head, like, okay, it definitely connects to Kylo Ren, his training with Luke. So of course Grogu wasn't there, so that kind of already gave me a hint to what's going on. But then at the same time, I was like, okay, I don't remember. I mean, I guess maybe Luke had a Yoda saber because of the events from Empire Strikes Back and everything. Which by the way, I said Empire earlier. It's actually Return of the Jedi. I don't know why I said
know.
Empire.
I didn't want to.
I didn't realize I said that.
You were going with it, so I just let you go.
Yeah, I messed it up and just realized that now that I said Empire, and I don't know why I said Empire. But I just fixed myself on that one. But anyway, but my point to the thing is that that there is a continuity errors when it comes to all that, and I know they were trying to shoehorn him in, and so I know what they did. They're using the armor to make him have to make a choice, which it's a kid. A kid's going to go for the thing they love, the father type. You know what I mean? Which kind of made me mad, but then I knew why they did it because of the temple. Because honestly, why aren't you training it? You know what I mean? Like you can't force the kid. I understand that there's the whole thing where the kid doesn't want to do it, but this kid is strong in the Force. Which means if he's going to go, he has the potential to go dark side. So either Luke's going to pay attention to that, or it's just thrown off. And I don't know how.
Okay,
I think that's the reason Ahsoka's in there. I think
so. Let me jump in on this. I have a feeling with two things that Putty said. This is not even what I was going to say before. Either he's going to eventually turn dark side, and they don't want us to know that yet, or he is going to go end up training with Ahsoka, and that's going to be its own thing. But I want to address two things from the series. One, that I really, really, really hated that moment. I hated it so much when I saw him come in the X-Wing. I was fucking furious. And I want to address why, because he should be training with Luke. If they want to correct this show and what one thing it did wrong, when Mandalorian season 3 comes along, he's going back to Luke or to Ahsoka. And if he doesn't, I don't even want to watch this show anymore, because that's such a stupid choice to make. And the reason I'm going to say that is if you look at time, there's two things in this movie that make no sense to me. Number one, Ben is not even born yet. Okay. So you have 20 years basically to train Grogu before Ben even comes. He would already be done his training. He would already be gone. So he wouldn't even be at the temple. So if you changed it for the temple, you're an idiot. Number two, also addressing time issues they have in this. If you look at the end of Clone Wars, what's the gap between Clone Wars and Sith?
18 years. Or Clone Wars and Sith, it's 3.
Okay, Clone Wars and Sith is 3 years. Boba Fett is like 14 years old. Okay,
like Clone Wars animated or Clone Wars the movie?
Clone Wars the movie, and
it's 10 years.
Okay, 10 years. So even that, Boba Fett's like 20 years old. Okay, Luke is born. Explain to me how in this show Luke is 25, but Boba Fett is like 60 something.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, because I never.
Luke's age in this, I believe, is in the first movie he's 19. In the second movie he's 22. In the third movie he's like 23. And this is 5 years later. That makes him 28. So that means
5. I thought it was 9.
I think it's 5. I believe it's 5.
Okay.
We can deep dig that, but
either way, he still looks.
Let's just say he's 28 years old. That would make Boba Fett 48. Why is Boba Fett 60? It doesn't. The timelines don't line up, and I'm using that not as a necessarily way to beat this down, but to also prove my point with Grogu that it doesn't make any sense why you did that if that's the reasoning.
Well, there's another thing that you have to understand.
How did Grogu not die when they killed all the younglings?
Luke even said it though.
I think Grogu and Anakin were born around the same time. I think.
Yeah,
that's what they're saying.
Yeah, but you know if that's true. But here's the thing: we know the history of Yoda species and how old they can get. So I know what Disney's doing with Grogu. They're basically saying we have one character that's a puppet that we literally can make last for a long time, and outlive people to make this character big and become the next Yoda in the Star Wars universe and take over that role. You know what I mean?
Just coming off you, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think what they need to do with that Grogu character is, should they move forward with more movies taking place after the Skywalker arc, the main character should be Grogu. And he should be the leader of whatever's happening.
A new Jedi Order.
Yeah, and then see, I agree with that. But the only thing I see is they're breaking rules. You remember?
Exactly, 100%. They're breaking so many rules.
Because the Padawans, remember, they even said the early movies that he's too old to be trained. Grogu, because of his age difference, because of how old they get and everything, he actually is at the right age to start training. So if you wait too long, you're going to be at another situation, which I guess they're trying to change that and say, well, remember Luke trained at an older age and it turned out fine, which of course they keep on changing stuff like, oh, there's a gray area now, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like they've been trying to do that.
I mean, but in fairness, George Lucas messed up a lot of that gray area on his own.
Oh, yeah. But see, that's what I'm saying. There's always
Metachlorians.
Yeah, well, yeah. That was we're not even. That's a whole other thing. That's already
Putty just got like triggered right there. He's like,
Yeah.
no midichlorians.
I mean, I tried to like it, but it's still just so it's
I
a
mean,
weird thing.
listen, I get a lot of it, but this is my point with the show. As enjoyable as it was, and as good of a time as I had watching it, the real underlayer that's covered by that candy coating is a disaster. There's basically no story.
That's the problem. Like that's what I was saying earlier. I feel like the characters of this,
the actual main story arc was weak.
Yeah,
yes,
with the whole spice trade, and
you replaced 2.5 of 7 episodes with another show. Like not even a little bit, like an entire other show takes over and plays. To me, in my head, why wouldn't you save all of that for the Mando? This is the one thing I'm going to say. The Mando season coming must be crazy if they had to exclude that and put it in a different show. Like I feel
where
like
he battles Vizsla.
Boba Fett has been made to cater specifically to the Mandalorian's needs, is what I'm seeing.
Which is funny.
Right now.
Which is funny because Boba Fett was popular. They made Mandalorian, but because Mandalorian became so big, it's like Boba Fett started to get kind of in the back burner.
But Boba Fett should be a back burner character in the Star Wars in like media sense, not like from the literature, from just like raw TV, video games, movies. Boba
you're
Fett
right.
Is not
because we don't want. Yeah, we don't want him to talk. We
right?
want him
And
to
it's
be
like this is the thing I wanted to say. So, Peacemaker, for example, let's just say Hawkeye, and this. So, the Mandalorian has become an important character, and we can clearly tell from those 2 seasons, it's maybe the best thing anything Star Wars has ever done. Okay,
yeah,
that's fair. But Boba Fett, in terms of what he means to the universe, Peacemaker, Hawkeye, completely 3 absolutely irrelevant characters who all have entire world-changing storylines in their show.
Yes, and it's so
it's
easy.
It's not that they're bad. It's that why would you waste these very super important storylines on absolutely irrelevant characters? Right? And I get DC's kind of like just scared, and they're like, James Gunn, do whatever you want, just take it, do whatever you want. And he's like, okay, I actually read comics, so I'm gonna F this up. Like, I'm gonna make it good, and I'm gonna do whatever I want. Where like Star Wars is like, you gave Boba Fett so much time, and who cares about Boba Fett?
But then again, going back, like remember at the end of season 2 of Mandalorian, we had that moment where Luke Skywalker shows up, and that was kind of like the let's test the waters to see how people are going to react to it before we have Boba Fett. Yeah. And I think that's exactly what they did in this show too, where like, because we haven't even spoken about bringing back a major character from the Clone Wars and Cad Bane yet.
Yeah, that's what I was going to.
We don't need to get there yet, okay?
But what I wanted to say about him though was maybe they're doing the same thing with him in this show that they're going to do. He may have a really big part in the Obi-Wan series coming out in May.
Cad Bane?
This what you're referencing now to me was having Kingpin in Hawkeye.
And
Hawkeye. Yeah, same idea.
The waters to see what's going to happen. Somehow he's bulletproof, but I mean,
because I could see Bane showing up in the Obi-Wan series. I could see Obi-Wan taking a trip to Dagobah to visit Yoda in that series. So that's going to happen. So it's like they're going to bring back all these old characters.
This is where I want to go with this.
Fanfare.
Because it's my goddamn show. So Cad Bane. Okay, I'm sorry, the Mando. I'm sorry, Boba Fett. I'm sorry, Darth Maul. Cad Bane is the absolute sickest, coolest character that's ever existed in the history of Star Wars. And if he's actually dead, I will never watch Star Wars again.
I don't think that. Look at the chest plate is light.
That's what everyone at my work was saying. There's no way he's dead.
He's cybernetic too.
Yeah, that's what I said. I'm like, he's robotic. How could he? Definitely not.
Oh, and let's talk about Thundercat. I love Thundercat.
No, Cad Bane is so sick.
Yeah, but like, he's a great character. The fact that they brought the original voice actor back to voice him really cemented that.
I get why they killed off Timothy Olyphant,
but they didn't.
We don't know that yet.
He's in the back the tank.
Yeah,
is he? Okay,
you gotta watch
at the end credits.
You got to watch
the end credits of the final episode.
He's about to get droid parts.
Okay, I was gonna say they probably killed him off so he could play John Marsden. Now I'm not as happy, but
Marsden. That's another show.
But yeah, so I mean, this is another issue I had: the convenience of everything. specifically when the Rancor is fighting the thing. So the thing is, the robot is like, but then when it sees the Rancor, all of a sudden it's just like, I'm not going to shoot you. I'm just going to sit here.
The Scorpion X and everything. And these are literally the droidicates that just like
the big brother of droidicas. Yeah.
Yeah. But didn't that seem fishy? Even when the Mando was trying to distract it to run away.
Yeah.
It multiple times looks right at him with the guns and then just doesn't shoot. Like, what was that about? Even with the Chewbacca guy, what's his name? I never remember his name.
Kirsten. Yeah.
When he's injured and he's on the side of it shooting, it literally turns and looks at him and doesn't do anything, and then it hits him. Why would you hit him? How did this
Wookiee not die?
Okay, another convenience thing. How was 20 people shooting at a guy and every single bullet specifically hit off one little square that he had on his body? Did you notice that? They're all bouncing off one square. Like beep, 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 beep.
Now, I know this has changed the show, but you brought the Rancor, so I want to go ahead and bring this up. I was so excited when I saw him, and then I realized, and then he got such a small part. When I saw Danny Trejo as the trainer of the Rancor, I was like, yes, maybe they'll give him a major part, like where you show him training the Rancor, and then we didn't get nothing. Like
I totally forgot that they had the Rancor.
Was so
Did you know
so about that?
I knew that. I had a feeling that's where he was going, but I wasn't sure. So in outside of this continuity, he plays Machete. In this universe, he plays Lightsaber. And I can't wait for that movie.
But see, that's what I'm saying. I love when I saw him, him training a Rancor. I could just see Danny Trejo in the Star Wars universe doing that. You know what I mean? So I was excited to see how they would show it. But then, literally, he was that one time, and then he's gone.
Again. I said, I legit forgot that there was a Rancor.
But that moment was made just for Robert Rodriguez to have a buddy in the show. It was never meant to be like
it's like how James Gunn puts Sean Gunn in all this.
Exactly. It's like how James Gunn's wife somehow is the main character in Peacemaker.
But see, I still think that Danny Trejo having a segment where he's actually showing how Rancors were trained would be awesome, because he's the only person I can see in this world that literally would face a Rancor and be like, sit your ass down. Or just, you know what I mean? Like having that moment.
But that was what he was there for.
But that's my point, though. I'm waiting to actually see that. You know what I mean? I'm waiting to see the actual moment where
he's Latino He-Man.
Yeah,
Latino He-Man. So
mentally in my head, I'm imagining
I'd watch
Danny Trejo training Rancors.
Okay, but
Latino Heat.
I forgot what I was gonna say.
About the Rancor.
No, this is what two things I really liked, and I I don't know anything about people's names. I really liked Jennifer Beals as the owner of the club.
The Twi'lek.
I thought she was a great little addition to that. And I don't care what anybody says. I friggin' loved that guy, the politician guy that was with him at the end.
Pasquaze.
He is going to be
Dave Pasquaze.
He's going to be this show's C-3PO. And it's
the way him, especially in that final episode with the interaction between him and Amy Sedaris' character.
Yeah, what she kept saying, tailheads.
They say it in episode 1
the whole time.
They say it in episode 1. He's like, we need to get a protocol droid. You have one now. This guy understands the languages. He can speak to everything. That's what's going to happen. They're going to keep it.
Which is really funny, too, because if you look, I think it's episode 2 or 3, there's one point that Boba actually passes a protocol droid. And I'm like, dude, there's a protocol droid right there. You've been looking for one. There's literally one right there.
I love that Matt Berry is their droid, though. I love that.
Matt, the Mighty Boosh.
But, I mean, look at us talking about it. Even with all the negative things we say, we still have smiles. I think it's an absolutely enjoyable show.
It is. And if you're a Star Wars fan, you will,
yes. Even with the
Easter eggs. Oh my god! Listen, episode 6 is I was for the whole, and I'm not even a big Star Wars fan.
But can we also say how fantastic Jennifer Beals looks at almost?
Oh my
60?
god! How long it took me to figure out it was her? I didn't even look it up. I just all of a sudden in my head I was like, wait,
that's Flashdance.
I was like, Flashdance, Jennifer Beals.
Remember back in the day, people all be like, Twi'leks, or there was that whole thing about that one Twi'lek, and I can't remember the name of her at the moment, but the one that was in Jabba the Hutt, as that whole thing where there was fan fiction. I'm like, I'm definitely she's going to be one of those people, because they did her
between
justice.
Her, Jennifer Beals at almost 60, and Fennec Shan, she's almost 60 as well.
That's my favorite character.
She looks like
she looks amazing.
Yeah, they both
I
look
believe
great.
she's like 56 or something like that.
Yeah.
Ming Na Wen actually, like I'm thinking about it. She played Chun Li. She's played
That's why I want that Street Fighter show. I said, bring it back.
Just because of her, she's the only thing that would carry that though. Like if she,
Kylie
I would
Minogue.
love to have JVD back. Wait,
well, I mean,
JCVD.
him trying to do American accent is always
JVC.
so funny.
Bring back
VCR.
JVR.
But yeah, Ming Na Wen,
JBL.
I've always loved her to death, and her as Fennec Shan was amazing, and I loved
Yeah,
it.
she played that character
Let's
really,
get
really well.
RVD in a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, right.
The whole damn
with the memory loss, he doesn't remember where to point. He's like, but yeah, I mean, I had a good time, and
yeah, it was fun. It was a good romp.
It's a worthwhile watch. I would never say stay away from the show. It's just not.
Don't put too much into it. Don't think too much into it. Yeah, don't put too much thought. Yeah, just watch it for the pure enjoyment.
This is somewhere like Solo for me, where I get it why people don't like Solo, but it was still an enjoyable action movie. Like you can't be that mad at it. And the guy's portrayal of Han Solo was fantastic.
He was,
it was. Like I said, I will say Donald Glover's portrayal in my eyes.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
Much.
Absolutely,
yeah.
I want to see Donald Glover show up in the Obi-Wan series.
Are we getting a show?
Oh my god!
No, but I want to see. Going to be a show?
I don't know about that, but wouldn't that be fantastic if he shows up in Obi-Wan?
A show about him.
Was it?
I swear.
Really, Donald Glover?
Well, I totally watched that.
Well, maybe it was planned and they never did it. It was called Calrissian, I believe.
That would be amazing, and that would be one of my top shows. Like he is Lando.
Donald Glover. Yeah,
he is the second Lando. Like I feel like what's his name?
He's better than friggin' Billy
D. Williams.
He does a better Billy D. Williams than Billy
D. Williams.
Oh, it's so great. But yeah, either way,
I know it's confusing when I always think of Carl Weathers when I think of Billy D. Williams. It's like,
yeah.
Who's also in The Mandalorian, Carl Weathers.
Because Billy D. Williams doesn't know anything about Star Wars or Batman in both of those movies. When he receives interviews after, he didn't even understand what Star Wars was after he did the movies.
No,
I know.
He thought he was just playing some random attorney in Batman.
Yeah,
he's Harvey Dent.
Yeah, he didn't realize that it was going to eventually lead to something. Hilarious.
But I just want to sum up one thing how I feel. I loved the Book of Boba Fett. I feel like the other characters outshined him a lot more, honestly, even though I really still love
for
Boba
sure.
Fett,
I agree with that.
But they outshined all of them. You know, I mean, Fennec Shan.
I think he was good, though.
Yeah. But I mean, the thing is now, because I still want, I would like if maybe he let somebody else take control of the syndicate and he went on his own or something like that, because that's what Boba Fett is. He's a traveler in my eyes. He's going
to stay there. He's ready to settle.
It's a one and done. I don't think there will be a second.
Yeah, I think there is. I think the way it ended with them all gathering in that room, I think we're going to get maybe not. I don't think it's going to be like concurrent seasons where immediately it's going to come. I think maybe 3 years from now there will be a follow-up series, or he's going to make appearances in other shows for sure.
I think that's where it's going to be. It's going to be appearances in other shows.
Well, because now he basically runs it.
Yeah. The Ahsoka series is basically going to focus on her searching for Thrawn and Ezra Bridger, most likely. Most likely, Mandalorian season 3 is going to have the return of Sabine Wren.
Yeah. By the way, I wanted to ask you guys this too, because I know we are almost limited on time. What did you guys think of Ahsoka mentioning how Luke is a lot like his father? Because I was hoping she'd mention something about the connection, because she's the only one that bridges that.
I'm a friend of the family's.
I really liked how her the air around her was like, I am the greatest living Jedi, and I'm gonna let Luke train him, even though I could kill Luke right now if I wanted to. Like, she kind of just had this vibe around her that she's been around for so long. She's a way better Jedi than Luke is. He might be more powerful in the Force,
but she's not technically a Jedi anymore because she left the Order.
Factual, but he has more Force potential. But she is a far better fighter and everything than he is at this point. And, can we get a second? Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, in the whole Ahsoka thing, you gotta think she's not Jedi anymore, but you gotta think that's all changed. Things have changed now.
Yeah, I hope we're gonna go a different direction here and get some sexy stuff going on.
I
just want to give a big shout out to the Jizz Band for coming back.
Yes, Max Rebo.
Oh my god, I saw
Max, and somehow he survived again. Notice how he wasn't in the sanctuary when it blew up. He knew something was up.
I have one question. I don't know how I missed this. Was the elephant guy there?
No, that's Max Rebo. He was
Oh,
not
I
there
thought
when
Max
it got
Rebo was the other guy. That
No,
played
Max
the-
Rebo's no. Max
Rebo's
Rebo's the-
oh my god! This whole time I've been thinking of the wrong character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Max
wow.
Rebo's that little blue elephant dude.
Yeah,
and
that's
he
my
wasn't
boy.
there. Yeah, and he wasn't there when it blew up.
So
he
wait,
knew. He has a man on the inside.
Who's the
What-
flute
how-
playing guy with
how-
the fish
What
lips?
if Max Rebo, they later on tell a big story saying Max Rebo is like this big fit master has something.
He's the guy. He's the guy running the whole syndicate, Max Rebo.
All right, guys, thank you for watching. Let us know what you thought of Boba Fett in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe. Go check out their channels. It'll be in the description. Peace out.
Max Rebo.